We're just freaking up, you guys. My name is Sarah.
Oh, we're starting now.
My name is Eve. We are Burnt Out Perfectionists, a hopefully weekly podcast as long as things don't get corrupted. And we talk about all things from neurospicy to just everyday, regular, random things that we have conversations about because it's fun. Eve, what is your survive and thrive of the day? Because we recorded yesterday.
My survive is I slept, but I'm still tired. And I've had this weird, I don't know. I just feel off.
Would that be a survive or a thrive? Clearly not a thrive, right? Okay.
Yes, we survived. And I'm just surviving and trying to... I want to sleep more, but my body just won't let me.
Just living your best life.
And also, side note, I downloaded this app because it popped up on my TikTok, and it's called Rise, and I was so excited because, you know how usually it's you go in and they're like, you need to pay. And I was like, okay, went through the whole profile section, and then they were like, to get this feature, you must pay monthly. And I'm like, I went through all of these questions and all of this effort, and now you tell me?
Yeah, honestly, I'd rather just have that shit at the beginning. I hate when I'm going through a whole process or the ones that are oh, it's free. And then you go through, answer all these questions. It does a full assessment. Oh, we're setting up and creating this for you. And then in between, it creates all these other things. And so this stuff gives you 2 paragraphs of advice. And then it's if you want to see more, it's $1,000 a year. What?
I don't know.
Why?
I was it was supposed to be determining how much sleep you need and your sleep debt. Which in general is cool. And then it was also we have the assessment that for this week, you owe 13.5 hours of sleep debt.
Oh, great. Another place to have debt. That sounds lovely.
It's 13 and a half hours. That sounds ridiculous. I'm supposed to get an average of 9 hours.
Really?
Yeah. I was excuse me? This is rude. I barely get 5.
Oh, geez. I feel I'm real winning when I'm at 6 to 7 hours.
I was but it bugged me because I was I went through all of this effort. My thrive is,
how many rounds of garbage in Uno did you win?
Oh my god, I played 15 with your kid this morning. She was like, Auntie, can we play another one? Auntie, can we do this? Auntie, do this? And I was like, honey, we can do 1 round. It's we can do 3 rounds of Uno, and that's my max. And then after she's like, do you want to play another game? And then she pulled out Clue, and I was like, no.
Okay. I don't know what is with me, but it doesn't matter how many times I read the instructions to Clue. I always end up playing it wrong.
I've never played Clue, and that's solely why I was no, not playing it right now.
I used to play Clue Junior when I used to play Clue Junior when I was a kid, and somehow I think it was easier. And I think somewhere in the recesses of my brain, I'm trying to play it the same way, but it just not working. Even when I try to play the new Clue Junior that she has, it always ends up with I have all the stuff, and then it ends up being I'm well, everybody's eliminated, so clearly I did something wrong.
I know, and that's I don't know. I was honey, I can't do that right now. But I'd say my thrive is that I did a lot of work on designs for the various seasons.
Nice.
And I was doing brainstorming on content because at least I find it really hard in the summer, and I know people are oh my god, it's summertime, it's such a great time. But if I want to promote a hoodie and I am sweating,
it's kind of hard.
It's kind of hard, and then my face is going to get red, and then I'm going to be blotchy, and then I'm just going to be annoyed. So I've been mentally planning content on top of the other designs. So
I know, I think that's a big thing. I mean, I was putting out stuff a lot for burnt out, and then I got burnt out. No, I just found I was I don't want to do all of the trend things that are out there or the other stuff. I'll just do clips with information. Plus, we were gone. I was in a wedding. There's been so much stuff, and I feel summer is. Everyone's oh my god, it's so relaxing. I'm my summers are so effing busy. It's not even funny. I have the illusion still that it's gonna be carefree, I'm a kid who's been released from school for 2 months, and I'm just going to live my best life running around without shoes on. And meanwhile, I'm just coordinating everything for the person who's running around without shoes on.
Well, also, I find that, especially when it's really hot, there's only so many things that you can do with the child.
Well, and it's like it gets like extremely hot here. So like there's games, and then sometimes it's like, hey, here's that learning program that your school gave you, or
let's do a craft.
Yeah.
But then it's like you try to. Sometimes I don't have the mental capacity. What's your survive and thrive?
My survive is, I don't know what the hell happened yesterday. If I got like half a migraine or what was going on. A TikTok where a girl was like, if you're near McDonald's and you feel like you're getting a migraine, go in and get French fries and a Coca-Cola. So for anybody who knows me, I am not a spicy beverage person, meaning bubbles. Bubbles are generally not my friend, and I usually don't drink anything that is fizzy. But I was like, you know what, I'm going to try this. So I got it, and it did make me feel better, but I still felt like the migraine, like wooginess. And I was dragging my ass around Walmart to get some. They had a bunch of stuff that had just gone on sale, so I wanted to go get things with my husband and my child. And then, yeah, I had to go to the bathroom, like a lot when we were there. And then when we got home, I just like essentially sat in the recliner and then slowly made my way downstairs to my room, where I should have been in the first place because it was significantly colder than anywhere else in my house because of the giant, I call her Big Bertha, the air conditioner that is in my room. And then, yeah, my kid brought me a Roar, which I thought was super cute. It's like an electrolyte coconut water drink that does not taste like coconut water. And she was like, I will take care of you, Mom. She brought me like a little teddy bear. She's like, I'll cuddle you, make you feel better. She hollered at her dad every single time he turned a light on downstairs. Mommy's brain hurts. We don't turn lights on. By the way, we have like really low night lights all over the place so nobody stubs their toes. But yeah.
Also, when it's like 5 p.m., do you really need to have that many lights on?
No.
It is still bright enough.
Do we also need to have music playing? Hell to the no. Not unless everybody in the house is in the same mood. And my thrive of today, I'm not going to lie, it's going to sound kind of lame. I was laying back in the pop-out, like, recliner thing that's outside. Like, you know, like the camping chair thing. So, like, camping lounge chair. And I laid back, and I just looked up at the maple tree and listened to it rustle in the wind. I had a little nappy nap, and I was outside with the dog. And then she awoke me.
So much sense, because I was like, where were you?
I went out. Well, she wanted to go outside.
Yeah.
So she was outside and running back and forth with like her friends who are on the other side of the fence. And then she awoke me with a lick of my hand, which I really appreciated that it was not my ear, which, because, you know, I have that stupid bug bite on my ear and it's still driving me nuts.
But you did put a pimple patch on it and you said it helped.
I put one of those, the hydrocortisone or
Cortisol?
Anyways, the things that you put it on and then it makes it white.
Hydrochloric acid?
It's something like that. I'm going to say it wrong. But I got some on sale at Walmart and I stuck it over top and within 5 minutes it stopped itching. So fun fact, I have a really bad allergic reaction to mosquito bites. And I was like, great, on the side of my face, this is going to be a real awesome long weekend. But, yeah,
a long weekend.
Yeah, I was just informed of this on a previous conversation that I had. It's a long weekend.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, apparently it, like, because it's British Columbia or Victoria Day or whatever. Oh, I knew there was one coming up because Selena's birthday is next week, so I always know there's a long weekend, but I thought it was next weekend, but it's not.
I know this sounds really bad, but I do turn off my, it is British Columbia Day.
The holiday thing on the calendar, I turn that shit off too. There's so many days. Some of them I like to learn about because I'm like, oh, that's fun. But other days I'm like, oh, but does that mean I get time off? No, it doesn't. Oh, okay.
Well, sometimes I look at it and I'm like, oh, I'll put it just at my work schedule up.
Yeah.
So I can see when I work. And then I'm like, oh my God, did I miss a shift or something? No, it's just a random day that it's a holiday.
I know. It always like freaks me out. Also, it's like random ones that like we don't have. And I'm like, what the fuck day is that? Is that a new year?
Like an Alberta holiday.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's not me.
'Tis not I.
She hasn't had coffee because of her.
Because I just don't feel good.
GI thing from yesterday.
I don't know if it's GI thing. Well, my brain fell off. I felt like woogie.
I felt off. Also, I kept on hurting my left leg yesterday and I was just done.
Oh, well, you can have a good giggle because it was like I could not fall asleep last night, like at all. And I just sat there staring at the ceiling. Even after, I went incessantly on TikTok flicking through until I felt like I was going to fall asleep and then put my phone on the charger, just stared at the ceiling. And it was like probably an hour and a half later, my husband rolls over and he goes, I don't mean to be that person, but I have a question. And I was like, what's the question? He just randomly woke up. He goes, did you drink water yesterday?
Oh.
And I was like,
Screw you.
I
don't think you did.
I was like, I had coffee in the morning. I had coffee from a franchise place that ruined my stomach yesterday. And I now know why I do not drink iced coffee specifically. I'll drink tons of other beverages from that place, but not iced coffee. Not cold brew. Blah, blah, blah. I got it, and Ben and I stepped it. We're like, oh, this is bitter. Like, okay. But I was like, I just want to get some sort of caffeine. Like, I'm kind of feeling off. I was even telling you this, like, yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
When, like, just some form of caffeine, just, like, get it and help. He's like, oh, yeah, of course. And then I was just like, oh, like, it wasn't giving me indigestion, but, like, I got, like, gut rot.
So today is August 2nd.
Oh, August 2nd. I don't know if she listens to this, but I'd love to give a shout out to, Nini. She turned 40.
Sup, Nini?
And we're living, I can't believe she turned 40 because then I'm like, fuck, dude, that's 2 years away from me turning 40. Not that I think it's like some ridiculously high like milestone. It's just an age number. But I was like, what?
Well, you're going to be 40 in 2 years?
Yeah. I have a couple friends who are turning 40 this year. And I was like, okay, so what are you doing for your birthday? And she's like, fucking nothing, like usual. And I was like, what do I mean to come up, whatever? And I was like, because Ben's looking at booking time for us to like maybe take a road trip to Alberta, and it's in conjunction with like a work trip that he has. And she was just like, oh fuck, go do that. That sounds like way more fun. I was like, oh my god, you're hilarious. She is not a birthday party person.
No, I also just remember that our sister's turning 30 this year.
Yep.
I remember like in the moment, like when it's the start of the month, I'm like, yep, this is what I need to do. This is great. 9 times out of 10, I'm like, because my birthday's in January, I just assume everybody's already that age for the year because I'm like, oh, well, I already turned 23. Like, everybody is their age.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, because everybody's like, oh, how old is Sarah? And I'm like, oh, she's 37. She's 38. And I'm like, wait,
I'm 37.
But she's turning 38 this year.
I don't know. My kid just loves to like hold that over because my husband's birthday's in February and my birthday's in October. And she's like, no, mom's still younger than you. I'm like, I don't even say that, but it's just funny.
Oh my god. She also likes to state, like, I am the youngest. I am.
Because it blows her mind that she's the youngest. Like, overall, the youngest.
Is there no other kids in his family?
No.
Oh.
She's the youngest by 2 months. 2 months? 3 months. End of July, August, September, October. 3 months.
I'm literally holding up my fingers.
So I was like, wait a second, that ain't right.
If you didn't listen to the past episode, we talked about this or that so you could get to know us because the previous week, me and the computer were not friends.
Oh, well, it recorded 17 seconds of the episode.
No, but like, I was very frustrated by it. I also learned, like, we do have an external hard drive and all of that. I do need to get better. I usually do it in September. Like, I'll clean off my computer.
That's what I do.
And, like, usually it'll be like, oh, it's, like, raining or something like that. And then I'll clean them off.
You don't want to waste time sitting on a computer going through pictures or going through files in your fucking iCloud when it's, like, beautiful and nice outside and you can go do activities.
It's not burning hot.
Yeah, and it's not burning hot. Like, I mean, if it's 45 degrees outside and I'm just praying that the air conditioner keeps going, then sure, I'll sit inside and do that because, you don't really have a lot of energy anyways. But, I just don't. Like, and it's to the point where it's like, am I going to do that and then be annoyed or frustrated that I missed out on time? Or am I just going to upgrade my Apple One for, like, a month or two and my husband's stoked because it has extra features and then have that extra iCloud storage because I just don't want to deal with it. And you know what? That's what I chose this month. To pay an extra $4.
With, like we've talked about before, like Costco removing the photo center. So it's a lot like if I was to buy pictures, I would just build a book because I'm like, why am I going to pay for individual pictures to come in the mail when, like, that can get damaged? But, like, I could just buy it, like, make a bunch of books.
100%.
So then it's like, well, then I have to sit down and do that.
I know, because you still have to go through, even if you just drop them all in, you still have to go through and make sure that they didn't like blow up on one page and they're like actually missing the person that you want in the picture.
Yeah, or you want to make them pretty or like.
Oh yeah, it's like a whole process. So then that then becomes its own like side project off of that one project, and I'm like, that is way more of like a fall winter thing for me that I would rather do.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. So we did this or that. So I figured this week we can do podcast episode outline of family and friends, how message responses impact you.
I actually remembered to bring my phone down today.
Good job. So did I.
Because I'm avoiding touching the computer.
She wants to make sure the thing is working.
When her name is...
So basically what this is we did an episode previously. It was more like work-based though. So it's like certain messages that will cause folks, whether they are neurodiverse or not, sometimes to spiral because you're like, oh, what the fuck? Things that go through other people's minds. Just to give another person's perspective, because I know some people just read a message for what it is. And other people will sometimes read into messages more or just be annoyed. And that is why we don't want to respond.
Sure. But also, I feel like it depends on, like, your mood and stuff like that. And, like, what the context of the conversation is.
100%.
So, the first one is, when can we all get together for family dinner?
Dear God, the amount of scheduling. Thanks to Eve, though, we have the Google Calendar.
Yes.
But it's always just, like, factoring in off times. For me, it's factoring in all of the activities. And then, okay, perfect. The activities were, okay, so who's the pickup? Who's the drop off? Who's the, do I need to bring something? I'm allergic to the world, so I don't assume that people will accommodate me. So sometimes I'm like, hey, I'll bring something else for myself or whatever.
I feel like with our family, though, we don't really have, like, family dinners.
Yeah.
Like, the people that have dinners on Sundays or stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, with Sarah's husband's job, like, at one point, it was, like, once a week or sometimes, like, a week out of the month that they were staying with us every day. So, like, yeah, we're having family dinners and we plan around that, but it wasn't, like, we'll have, like, holiday dinners, but also, since, like, the kids getting older and stuff, sometimes it's nice to, like, be in your own home. And, like, I work all holidays, so we just kind of adjust from there. I wouldn't say, like, we don't really do that anymore.
Oh, yeah. I don't feel like it's the end of the world either. If it's just like, I know one of the things that was like noted is some people are like, well, it'll leave the person who's trying to plan it in like pending state if you're like, oh, I need to check my schedule. Because you know what? At that exact point in time when I'm being messaged, I might not have everything available or know all of the variables. Because things can change at any point in time. So I'd much rather like sit down and figure stuff out. Or, like, don't message people during the day when they're working because like, they're already doing a million other things.
Oh, yeah. Our family knows that I don't answer. Unless, like, if you text me before noon, I'll look at my, like, during my lunch hour. And I'll look after work. But if it's something, like, really important, call me.
100%.
Like, when people say, like, I'll check my schedule and come back, I usually just, like, if I'm like, hey, I just do this. And Sarah's like, I'll check my schedule and get back to you. I'm like, hey, just a heads up. These are when I work. Like, if I have my schedule, these are my plans that I have. These are the days that I have available. If none of those work, then fine.
I know sometimes I'll be like, so far it's this. I'm just waiting to confirm this. So that way they know it's like not some made up thing. I don't know if that's like the over explaining thing to me, but I'll be like, I need to check in. Like, I have an idea of what it's going to look like, but I have no freaking idea right now because I'm waiting for other things to come through that are completely out of my hands. I love these. How are you doing? Haven't heard from you in a while. Also, could be a spam message. Heads up, everybody. Just to throw in a little PSA.
The most recent one is like, hey, are you at work? I have a job I think you'd be interested in.
Oh, yeah, I know.
I'm like,
there's those ones or my favorite is, oh my God, did you see who died? And they send like a link that's just like so generic. And you're like, does anybody press that link? Because why?
I feel like when I read, like, how are you doing, it kind of depends on who it comes from.
Yeah.
I'm very much the type of person to be like, I might have reached out multiple times and not gotten an answer. And then it's like, oh, I haven't heard from you in a while. And then just be like, I did message. Just, never answered.
I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes when I read that, like, how are you doing? Haven't heard from you in a while. I'm like, what do you need? It's the first thing that goes through my brain.
Or usually I'm like,
what do you need?
Are you here to tell me something? And you want to say, like, how are you? And then you have something to say.
Or my favorite is when you get it from like a random person. I'm like, oh my God, what MLM are they going to try to sign me up for? Or UGC creation or whatever. It's always something. It's, oh, hey, how you doing? I haven't talked to you in a while. And it's like, yeah, we don't talk. There's probably a reason why.
But I also feel like most of the conversations I have now start off with like a random like TikTok or something like that. And I'll send to someone and we'll have a conversation. But the next one's like, I've been busy. I'll catch up with you soon.
I have learned now that, like, you know, people are just busy. They're not blowing you off. When I was younger, I would be like, it actually, I'm going to say it depends on when it, like, comes up. Because if you're just, like, full-blown having a conversation with them and helping with something, and then out of nowhere, they're like, I'm busy. I'll message you back later. It's like, whoa, what happened? Are you okay?
I think that when I read that, I'm always just like, I've been busy. And I'm like, if you ask, like, if we go to the one before that was like, how are you doing? Haven't heard from you in a while. And someone responds with, I've been busy. I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah.
Why did you answer? Why didn't you just wait until you had time?
That's the whole thing is, like, sometimes it's like feeling as if you need to respond or realizing that you actually don't need to respond and that you can just, like, set a reminder, or I just put things back to unread.
Yeah.
So that way it's like pending there. So that way when I do have time, I'll go back and answer said message. Or if it's like an email, I'll just do the like remind me if I know I'm not going to be busy an hour or like later tonight. Like, not everything needs to be immediate. Not everybody needs your immediate attention.
Like, I had somebody text me today at 5:45 and say, like, we were talking about home decor. And I didn't answer until 9. And I'm pretty sure that she wasn't offended.
And that's the whole thing, right? No. I mean, you can always like gauge it based on things. I mean, if I get a message in the middle of the night, at least someone goes, oh my God, I messaged you last night. I didn't hear from you. Yeah, I was actually sleeping or I was cleaning. Like, I'm not, my phone is not on me at all times.
I feel like a lot of people didn't grow up with the like text call rule. So like our mom always had the rule that you don't, unless it's an emergency, you don't text or call past 6:30. You try not to text or call during dinner.
I changed that to 8 just because some people get home later.
Yeah. Obviously, I'll text Sarah usually being like, hey, just a heads up, I'm going to work on business stuff, so you might get a lot of text messages. It's like...
My favorite is, you can totally ignore these, but I just want you to show you all the shit I'm doing right now.
Oh, well, then at least I don't forget to do it. Because sometimes if I work the next day, she'll text me and be like, hey, did you send me this? And I'm like, God damn it. I don't have access to that on my phone.
Or how Canva automatically defaults to one fucking view.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't, if you forget to swap it to share for the whole team that you're on, you can't see it. And we're just like, I'm like, she's like, cool. Did you, on her lunch break, did you see those t-shirt designs I did? No. Where are they? Oh, crap. Okay. I'll put them on share. Like, just like send the things. Like,
share them, and then it's like they magically disappear.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it used to be like 6:30 p.m. and then you don't text before like 7 a.m.
Oh, this is my favorite. I love getting these when you have like a whole thing set up for a plan to go do something with somebody, and they're like, we need to change our plans. Can you handle it?
Like, handle changing the plans?
Yeah. Sometimes I'm like
emotionally, like, am I going to be damaged if we don't do these plans? Or like, can you handle changing the plan?
I know I love when you just get, even when it's just like a blank statement like that, I'm just like, okay, like, what do you mean? Like, are we not doing it today? Do we need to change it to another day? Do we need to change the activity that we're doing? Can I have more context? And sometimes it's like a simple thing, like, oh, I need to, something came up, I'll be there an hour later or whatever. And I'm like, why the fuck didn't you just say that in the original message?
I feel like this is probably worded quite poorly. Like, I've messaged them and like, hey, I'm really sorry. Can we reschedule this? I'm not feeling well, or like something like that. But it's like, I feel like if I would prefer that if someone messaged like a couple hours before and then I'm like, okay, sweet, versus like 30 minutes before and you're like, wow, rude.
Oh my God, no, the worst is when they're like fucking 30 minutes late. And you're like, yo, you coming? And you just don't hear anything. Or they like message you like, oh yeah, I got really tired and I fell asleep. And I'm like, well, that's great that you slept, but like, buddy, alarm. Like, I was worried.
Oh my God. No, you know what gets me is oh, I've already left, and they're still at their house.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't care if you say that you're going to be late, but like, don't be texting me saying, oh, I've just left.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, because I know how long it takes to get to your house, or like, I know the average amount of time. And if it's like 40 minutes over and I'm like, are you dead?
We can't, because, you know, we've had car accidents in our family, so it makes me like extra paranoid.
Like, I'm sorry, don't inform me that your location is completely different. Like, if you don't want to come, cool. Like, but if we're meeting on something.
Oh, no, I totally get it. I've also gotten like this one said it was like a response to the previous one, but when someone just messages, I'm so overwhelmed right now. Can we talk about this later? And I usually, you know what my immediate response is there anything I can help you with?
I feel like when someone says I'm really overwhelmed, like, chat about it later, I'm like, if it's like with planning something, I'm like, oh, okay, like, you let me know what works best. But I also find that like sometimes that can be like an excuse of like, oh, I'm just overwhelmed right now.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes if I get that and I'm like, we were in a full-blown conversation about something and like I literally just needed like a green light about one thing.
Yeah.
And you're now saying like, I can't do it, I can't handle it right now, and shutting down. Like, I think there's obviously a point where you recognize that starting up, and like if it was like, hey, I think this is a lot, can we make a plan of doing and like talking about this on the specific day?
Oh yeah.
But I also get annoyed when someone's like, oh, I'm really overwhelmed right now, and I'm like, well, like, can I help? No, there's nothing you can do, you're not helping. And you're like, but we were literally working on something.
We're working on something. Is that what you're overwhelmed about, or is it something else? Like, what is it?
Like, tell me what you're overwhelmed.
Oh yeah. Or there's like, you could be having a conversation with someone, whether it's like a light conversation, just like a regular one, and they whip out something like, oh yeah, like let's totally talk later, let's talk soon. Like, I have something to tell you. Or when someone messages you that at 9 a.m. and then you're like, when the fuck are you going to tell me what's going on?
I feel like if someone, like, when someone messages me that, I'll like care for a minute, and then I'm like, like, it always bugs me when someone sends that and then you actually hear the information and it's like,
not what
that is not as like time restrained of like, we need, like, I understand it's like, oh, I want to see you and talk to you about it and get your reaction, but it's like, my immediate reaction's like, are you engaged?
Sometimes it's like depending on the person that you're speaking to, because like if you know all these extra things that are going on in their life and you're like, oh my God, what is going on? Could it be this? Could it be this? Could it be this? And they were just like, I really want to tell you about this really awesome like coffee that I had at Starbucks. And you're like, the fuck, dude, or something, or like this really awesome recipe that I made.
Then send me the recipe.
Right?
Or FaceTime people. Like, I feel like the time and age of like, I'm not a huge fan of texting, but like,
I feel like those vague messages give me like the same feelings as like when people would have like really vague statuses on Facebook, or it would be like lyrics of a song or something in their MSN like profile, which I know you're like, I don't know those things.
No, I know those things, but like, I find too when people are like vague about things, I'm like, you know when someone's engaged in a conversation because like when you've been friends with them or like family and stuff, like, you know when they're engaged versus them just continuing the conversation just to like appease.
Oh yeah.
So like when I get those, I'm just like, okay, obviously you're bored.
Clearly, why are you baiting me? This is not a to be continued series like in the 1990s. Like, can you just be like, hey, I want to tell you about blank. We'll talk later.
Like, we don't have minutes. We don't really have minutes anymore. We don't have, like, oh my God, long distance. We don't have how many texts you can send in a month. Like, most people have, like, or you can send it on Messenger. Like, we have voice notes if you want people's opinions and stuff. Like, there's so many things that I just sit there and, like, why are you putting a timer? Like, why can't you just... Like, I get if it's like, oh, I want to tell you, but it's going to be too long to type out.
Yeah.
We have voice note.
We have voice note.
Just send me a voice note. I don't care.
My favorite is those, like, vague statements that are just like, when you have a minute, can I talk to you?
I sent those.
That's different. No, but like when it's like, when you have a minute, can I talk to you? And it's like somebody who maybe you only talk to every once in a while, and you're like, oh my God, what the fuck's going on? I don't know if that's like the generation I grew up in, but I get that at work. If I get that in personal message, I'm like, oh my God, what the fuck is going on?
I don't really think into those. Can you give me your thoughts on what I said?
I hit my knee. Ow.
Can you give me your thoughts on what I said earlier?
I don't really have someone do that. I always have people be like, hey, if this scenario was happening to you, and sometimes it's so vague, I'm like, I need more specifics. But they'll be like, okay, what would you do in this situation? I'm like, well, first off, you're not me. Like, no. Can I have more details sometimes when it comes to stuff? I don't know. Like, can you give me your thoughts on what I said earlier? If someone says that and you've been having like an active conversation, but it's almost coming across like condescending, it's like, I need some time to think about it before I respond. Those type of messages, like, I'm going to think about this, or like, did you understand what I said above? And it's like, I clearly understood what you said.
I don't know. I don't really get that vibe. Like when someone says like, what are your thoughts on this? Or like, it's usually like for somebody to make a decision, like if you were giving them options.
Yeah.
Like, hey, would you rather that this happen or this happen? And do you want like Red Robin or Old Spaghetti Factory?
Yeah.
And like, oh, I would like this because of this reason. Like, it's not really like hitting hard. Not like I'm like real trying. It's just like, okay, I'm literally just making the tiniest decision on that.
Oh, speaking of friends and family, our favorite question that we get asked, what's for dinner?
I have a banish that you can't ask me until 45 minutes after I've been home. Because if I get in the car and I'm tired from work and someone looks at me and goes, what do you want for dinner? Nothing. I am tired and I would like to go to bed. Like, if you text me in the middle of the day and you're like, hey, are you feeling anything? 9 times out of 10, I do not have the urge to eat ever. So why, like, I don't know, like, what are you thinking? Or like when you get in the car and someone's like, I didn't take meat out, and you're like, cool. Cool.
Yeah, there's always those like random, like everyday ones. I'm always just like, come on. I've been thinking and doing a lot of things all day. Can somebody else just choose what's for dinner? Sometimes I'm like, I just want to have like a mason jar, or I pull out a popsicle stick and it tells me what's for dinner.
Also, like, when you go to the grocery store, 9 times out of 10, you buy around the same things every week. You kind of know what's in the house.
Right.
Like, when in doubt, slap a chicken on the Barbie. Like, have some rice, have some vegetables. Wow. Thrilling. Caesar salad. Sold. Like, sometimes if I'm really lazy, I just have, like, a chicken burger or have a regular burger. And, like, you just keep those things in your house. And then we always have, like, a couple of the ones from Freshco. And it's, like, frozen meatballs. And, like, when in doubt, frozen meatballs, mashed potatoes, and gravy. And, like, vegetables, great.
I mean, my default for I don't want to think, but I'll make dinner is spaghetti. And those will usually involve meatballs or sometimes just, like, some type of ground meat. Like, there's always, like, those, like, default meals that people grow up with. I don't make casseroles because 90% of them include dairy, and it just doesn't make any sense.
But, like,
because they need
pork chops, mushroom soup, and rice.
Oh, it was my favorite thing until I couldn't eat it anymore.
It's delightful. I love it so much.
I'm always just like, oh, okay, like, what do I have? It's not that hard to, like, dig in the freezer and find something. I feel like my family needs to do a freezer eat month where we just eat the stuff, because what'll happen is when it comes to fall, my husband and my child become very inspired to make soup. And they don't just
good, because soup is good for you.
Oh my God, it's great, because there'll be a lot of things that, like, you know, the vegetables that look a little limp, they'll use those and stuff, or they'll get other things. And it's fabulous. And we'll eat it for, like, you know, you eat it for, like, a dinner and a lunch, or maybe 2 dinners, 2 lunches, or whatever. And then you package it up and put it in the freezer. Well, just start taking those things out, because I know they're going to get in the mood soon, and I don't need 8 packs of chili in my freezer.
I want to get those things that has, like, the specific portions out.
The
like,
little block things?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think those are pretty sweet, actually.
Those would be sick. And, like, I have already made a whole thing on, like, whole folder on my TikTok of, like, things I'm going to make this fall.
Yeah.
Because, like, last fall, I was, like, picking up a lot more shifts and stuff. And I was like, I need to do all of these things. And then now I'm just like, I'm not.
I know there's like so many little things that you can do along the way. And I mean, like, there was a bunch of ones that I saw where it was, you could like mass do a bunch of things for like dinner where you pulled them out.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, but I could also just make stuff that could be freezed, like frozen, that I could freeze and then put stuff in there, or just having like certain things available. Like if you're like, oh my goodness, this ground beef is going to go, I can like cook it up and maybe cook the whole thing and then do half of it with Italian spices and the other half for tacos that night or something, and then put the rest of it in like the freezer. So that was an easy thing just to like take out and do, because I think where like the pause happens a lot of the time is like actually like manufacturing that meal. You might have all the food, but you're like, what the heck? Also, my friend was like really sick and trying to regulate stuff for a while. And she was like, I was just so exhausted with like trying to figure out what's for dinner. So fun fact, if people haven't done this, you can do this on ChatGPT, just the free version.
Mm-hmm.
Type in the stuff that you have and then just state any food allergies, obviously, so that way it doesn't put anything in there like I would put non-dairy. And it'll give you like a couple suggestions, and you can say a recipe. Sometimes the recipes are hilarious because they're like way off, because again, it's AI. But sometimes it just gives you that jumping off point instead of like doom scrolling on Pinterest or anything like that. I mean, it's always, if I'm real tired, it's like, hey, here's a can of soup and here's some grilled cheese, you guys. I can make myself a sandwich and some soup.
I find that it's a lot easier to do like the meal planning and everything in the fall.
I think that's just like the way that my brain works, because there's so many different things that you can do after spontaneously in the summertime. Or there's like birthday parties and a couple other things.
It's so hot like you're like, I don't want to heat up the house.
Yeah.
And yes, I do have the Lamborghini of air fryers. But like, oh my God, I'm so excited to make a rotisserie chicken this year.
Oh yeah.
But like so many of those I'm like, well, I want to make it, and I want to make batches of things, or like I really want to start making bread, but it's so hot I don't want to make bread.
Well, that's the whole thing, is like, that's why I always try to like lean towards things that I can like, I have one element that's open on like my flat top barbecue. So it'll be like, okay, I've got an element, I can boil something outside if I want to boil something. And then what can I make actually on the barbecue or heat up on the barbecue? So that way it's good, instead of me like having all this shit on the inside. And like you said, warming it up when your air conditioner is like already trying its darndest just to like keep up with the world.
Well, also like I like to have like hearty meals in the fall. So you can have like chili, spaghetti, and like all of those. And like I'm like, oh, this is so great. Eating spaghetti in the summer sometimes, I'm like, it's so good.
It's like, it's so filling and just like so starchy that you're just like, and this is where I sit on the couch now.
Like I could have a freaking roast, like a turkey roast or like chicken every single day. I love Yorkshire pudding with a passion. I love mashed potatoes. I love corn. I love all of the standard fall vegetables. And I love meat. But like in the summer, I'm like, I really want gravy and Yorkshire pudding, but it is so hot outside. And I just want the Yorkshire, but it's so hot.
Right? Oh my goodness.
And I can randomly bake too. Oh my God. I have so many freaking recipes.
There's so many ideas for things that you can go through, but yeah. That's the funny thing, is just like the translating different things. And I think it all depends on like your mindset that you have on like how you perceive things. Obviously, the person who it's coming from, just don't always default to it being a bad thing.
Oh my God. You know what I also thought too? Is if we get really good, I'm on the train and meal plan now. We could totally split it, and then just, we both have 3 people in our household, and just each make a meal.
I know, but in the words of Mom, in the very loving way she said it is, I don't eat dairy, and that makes some meals really sad.
Well, like, chili.
Oh my God. My husband makes really good chili. Actually, my kid helps make it. She loves making it. Will she eat it anymore? No. But does she love making it? Yes.
But, like, we can make chili, and, like, there's certain meals, like soup. I don't put dairy in soup.
Some people do.
Oh, I do not. Oh my God, crock pot meals.
That's the funny thing is honestly, I was thinking the other day, I was like, I don't know why I don't take advantage of being here during the day with a fully fucking done kitchen, just to like either bring stuff or just to make food and then be like, go home and here's the food, everybody. Like, obviously, like, I can leave a crock pot at my house. My husband goes in and out of the house because he is a remote worker. But, like, I can put things in a crock pot and, like, leave it. But sometimes there's, like, extra shit you need after that or whatever. But, like, if I need buns, technically, I have enough time during the day to make said buns.
Well, like, I just think if, like, we started in the summer and it was, like, we switched, I think we have another crock pot. I know.
Like, I have two and you guys have, oh, no.
The one broke.
Yeah, the one broke.
But, like, if we wanted, like, pulled pork.
Yeah.
Boom. Done. Ribs. Everything done. I think we just need to coordinate it more.
It's coordinating, but another thing for me is like going to the grocery store and I look for what's on sale and then I make meals from there. Because if I go to the store with all these magical ideas of things that I want to make, I don't know why, but it's like the day that they decide to make that one type of meat, $80. And I'm like, what the fuck?
But also, if you think about it, then I'm just really on the like sharing is caring vibe now. If we like say planned pulled pork and like we bought a slab for like $40,
yeah,
ish, that's $20 each.
That's true.
And then that would also be limiting the amount of leftovers.
Mm-hmm.
And so like $20 each is not too bad, and you probably can use other like parts for other things.
I mean, they always say it takes a village.
No, I'm just forcing you to be a part of this village because like I want to have. Well, I don't mind cooking. I'm more of a baker. I can cook. I just get so bored. And I have the like weird thing where like if I cook, it's like I've already smelt it so much that like my stomach
You're
like
not hungry. I'm the same way.
But like I think we should do it. We should make plans. Like we're both fun.
Also, I love how this went about vague statements into like food. Clearly we're hungry. We need lunch. Also, I want to start pre-packing like actual snacks because I forget to eat in the afternoon, and by the time I get home, I'm making dinner. And then I'm like, oh my God, I'm starving.
No, I think, and like making, I know people are against certain like homesteaders, but like I have some homesteaders on it and they're like making sourdough and they're making like all these different things. I want to make my own muffins.
Oh, I want to make my own muffins too, but every single time I make them, they end up being like stumpy. Oh, I think we have a visitor. So, thank you so much for choosing Burnt Out Perfectionist as your listening series for today. Please remember we have all our episodes uploaded to YouTube and other podcast platforms. So if you want to catch up with us, please feel free. We're on all social media platforms. And you got anything else to add there, Eve?
Always stay warped and twisted as peace.
Oh.